All right. I guess I'm ready when you guys are then.
Good to go.
Okay. Starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the RPG After Years, your weekly show covering all things RPGs from the past, present, and future. This is episode 9. I'm Scott.
And I'm Jay.
With us today is another special guest. It's my fiance, Corey, yet again.
Hi, everybody.
But are you even like a guest anymore? I feel like you're on almost as much as we are.
I think out of the 9 episodes, I've been on 3.
It's pretty good. It's like a rotating special guest star.
An irregular regular.
Yeah.
There's no Rich today because we didn't need him. But we did need Corey because today we are reviewing Astral Chain on the Nintendo Switch, which Jay did not play. He's here more to kind of moderate us. But Corey watched me play all the way through it, so I thought it would be good to have another voice of opinion here. We beat it like about a month or so ago. So we'll get to all that in just a bit. But first, let's catch up. I was not ready with the transition noise.
Oops.
Okay. So Jay, what have you been up to, man?
Oh man, what have I been up to? When I say we, I mean me and Gracie have progressed a little bit in Tales of Berseria. Not too much, probably just a couple of hours. I'm still incredibly stuck as shit on Tales of the Abyss. Same boss. I am gonna have to grind in order to get out of the area I'm stuck in, and I just can't work up the the nerve to sit there and just fight really weak monsters for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I played Super Smash quite a bit throughout this week. I've been usually in like 5 minutes of boredom, I'll go and play around, and every now and then I'll get a challenger and either get my butt kicked or kick their butt.
Are you doing like just versus matches, or are you going online, or are you?
I'm just doing the Smash stuff. Is there a story mode? I have no idea how do you do that?
It's under Spirits and World of Light.
Oh, well, shoot. Okay. I've just been doing Smash, and
you can unlock characters that way too, but it's kind of faster just to get them through versus.
Okay, cool. I've been playing a lot of Kirby, Lucina, and Lucario. Those have kind of been my main rotation.
Nice. Lucina is supposed to be like an easier version of Marth.
Yeah, I have no idea who Marth is.
He's another Fire Emblem character. She's a clone of him, basically.
One of the 20.
One of the 20. But yeah, I am probably the best at Kirby because I can spam his down B move, and
hi,
and then I can just like float. Like I'm really bad at using the special skill to to save myself from dying. And Kirby can just float his little round butt back to safety.
Right.
But outside of that, I did play a little bit of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I think I'm going to give it another shot at some point.
I thought you gave that up.
No, I think I'm going to give it another shot. I watched a little bit of the first one and confirmed that there's no real connection outside of lore based stuff around the first and the second one.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons I'd convinced myself to stop playing the second one in the first place was because I was like, oh, I probably just need to play the first one to get it, to understand. But apparently that might not be the case. So I think I'll give it another shot and maybe pay a little bit more attention and not take so many big breaks in between playing it. But I will have to start a new game on it because I don't remember anything.
Yeah. We'll go over this a little bit more later. Nintendo had a direct this week, and they showed off a trailer from the remaster of the first one. So
Yep.
I'll definitely be picking that up. And then if assuming we like it, we'll probably eventually do the second one as well.
Yeah. But then I also bought and started Star Ocean First Departure R for the Switch, and I really enjoy it. I'm only a couple hours in, so I don't know how much I'm going to continue enjoying it. But yeah, the style and the gameplay, it's kind of I'm wondering if it's made by the same people who made the Tales series, because it's the combat and general style is very similar to that. Although I strongly prefer this game's art style compared to the other Tales games that I've played so far.
So what made you decide to pick that up out of just randomly?
It was 20% off. That's pretty much it.
That's a good reason.
What system is that on?
Switch.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
So other than the games, how have you been holding up in this age of Corona?
We're really bored. So previously we were at least able to go and walk around a store, small town boredom things. Or
are you one of those people that goes and hangs out at the Walmart for fun?
We walk around. We don't sit in the parking lot with our big trucks. But but that and the gyms are closed down, so we can't go to our normal classes in the evening and have the regular social interaction there. So it's been a little tough.
That does suck.
And
I've had to have a home gym.
Yeah, it is. Except we have no motivation to go do that either.
Yeah,
it's just like I'm just gonna sit here and burn through my quarantine snacks.
Right. There are people who are like legitimately afraid of gaining weight during all this.
Yeah. I have been able to binge watch a couple of anime because of it, which isn't too far out of the norm. But then, have you guys watched Tiger King?
I'm working on it right now.
Oh man, I only watched the first couple of episodes, and Megan and my sister finished the rest of it. Just the memes going around and what they told me about it
are hilarious.
So insane. Yeah.
Well, Scott got a little tired last night, and I watched episode, I think it was 4 last night.
Damn, I didn't know you did that.
Yep. It's just getting crazier and crazier.
It is. Yeah, it's
I
pretty
remember
intense.
There's a podcast about it too that Corey listened to, and I caught a lot of the info from it from just listening to that.
It's just nuts.
Yeah. Well, as for us, Corey and I have been playing just an absolute shitload of Animal Crossing.
It has dominated the week.
Yeah, it's like we're doing that instead of other things. It was the perfect quarantine game.
What are you doing in it? Because I'm pretty sure I understand the point of the game is that there really isn't a point.
Yeah,
but
I mean it's basically like a very cute life sim. It's like a non-stressful version of life. So right now we just got our resident services upgraded. So now we can do shit like design a flag and design custom clothes. And we haven't even went and talked to the person in there. That's what we were rushing around trying to do this morning before the show. Making money, paying off our house, customizing the island. It's almost therapeutic. So Corey and I have been taking like turns playing that. I'll play for a couple hours and he'll play for a couple hours. We're sharing the same account right now. Just because my account's so far ahead now.
I was really considering buying it, but just decided to hold back and save the money.
Well, the thing is, cheaper. I've played Animal Crossing games before, and what it ends up inevitably turning into is you stop getting like new things on your island and new things to do, and then it starts to feel more like a chore to like upkeep everything. But so far, this one has not that hasn't happened yet. I think it will eventually. I was going to. I almost didn't buy it just because of that, but I'm really glad we did because we've had a ton of fun with it so far. Um, other than that, we have continued to play some of our normal games. Yoshi's Crafted World. Um, how's that going, Corey?
We're progressing.
Yeah,
I mean, there's not really like a story or much of a story tied to it anyway. So it's just kind of with these big games about to come out. We don't want to start, a big game and make it ours. So this was one of our backlog games, and so we're just trying to clear that a little bit.
yeah. We've got Resident Evil 3 at the end of this week, and then 7 Remake the week after that. So we're really hesitant to uh, start new games, like you said. Um, been randomly playing some other smaller games, trying to uh, get some of the side stuff in Celeste, which I've mentioned before, I think, but that's one of my favorite games that's come out in the past few years. I love it, but I'm just trying to get collectibles.
I can't remember anything about that. What exactly is it?
It's an indie platformer. Basically, you're this girl who's climbing up a mountain, like a snowy mountain, and it has like a decent story for that type of game. It basically deals with like depression and anxiety, and this girl like conquering, her mental illnesses with that. Um, but it is kind of hard, especially later on. But I loved it. So just trying to get collectibles in that. We played a couple zones of Sonic Mania, just trying to eliminate like the smaller games in our backlog. I've been doing Ring Fit Adventure a lot. That's still fun. They added a new like rhythm game mode to it. It's like turns fitness into a rhythm game. um, and then we also, Jay, we beat a game. We beat Super Mario Galaxy.
Yay!
So Corey and I will do a review on that eventually. What were your general thoughts about Galaxy, Corey?
Um, not one of my favorite Mario games, actually, which I know is probably an unpopular opinion, but I struggled with the way the mechanics of the game were set up with the motion control plus the gravity. Hard for me.
I'm starting to think that you just don't like Mario as much as you think you do.
I like the older ones, and I enjoyed Odyssey a lot.
Is this a remake or a reimagining? I swear there was another Mario Galaxy game at some point.
There's also a Mario Galaxy 2. Both were on the Wii.
Oh, okay. What are you playing it on?
Technically, I'm playing it on the Wii U, but the way the Wii U plays Wii games is it's literally an emulator. So might as well be playing it on the Wii.
Yeah.
So we'll do a review on that. And the thing that I think that's funny about that is our first non-RPG bonus Patreon review was for Luigi's Mansion 3. The next one will be Captain Toad. And then I guess the next one will be Super Mario Galaxy. And the crazy thing is, I think the next game we'll end up beating is Yoshi's Crafted World. So 4 Mario games in a row somehow.
That's the might as well just have a spin-off podcast.
Yeah, right. Anyway, as far as the coronavirus stuff, how are you dealing with it, Corey?
Well, considering we've not left the house in 2 weeks.
Well, we did go to the liquor store.
Well, I mean, that's required. That's an essential business.
Yeah, essential trip.
Yeah, especially being locked with you for 14 days.
Yeah, so we're both working from home now. And that's been going well so far. I enjoy it quite a bit. So I'm definitely going to pursue that in my hopefully soonish future.
Yeah, I'm loving the work from home situation.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's very nice. It can be a little much sometimes. You start to get a little lonely if you don't have friends outside of forced interactions.
Yeah.
Like me. But I'm pretty sure you guys have actual friends, so you'll probably be good.
That reminds me. I got with the kids last night, and by that I mean I did a Snapchat party with like 5 or 6 friends to play Mario Kart. So that was a new experience for me. I dominated as usual. So yeah. Oh, and the whole liquor store thing. When Knox County announced that all non-essential businesses were to close, that was like the first thing, like main concern is like, our liquor store is essential. Turns out they are apparently. So yes.
Sounds like a very Tennessee thing.
Very much so. Anyway, that's it for that. Okay, so do you want to talk about Patreon a little bit, Jay?
I totally can. So if you didn't know, the After Years podcast does have a Patreon, and we have a handful of benefits that come with that, depending on the tier that you sign up. So we offer early episode access, ad-free episodes. We offer participation in live and video versions of the podcast. We are actually live on YouTube right now. That all gets shared through Patreon. We also have bonus episodes and bonus reviews that are Patreon only, including the Aftercast, which is just us talking about some random, potentially controversial idea or topic. And then, like Corey and Scott had mentioned, they do a bunch of bonus reviews because they're big nerds playing video games all the time.
Well, you know, whenever you and Rich finish a list game or non-RPG, you'll have to do reviews too.
yeah, that's true. But the problem is, I don't know if I'm playing any non-RPGs right now, or if I ever really do. I don't know.
Better for the show anyway.
Yeah. So that we do have plans for more bonus episodes around whenever the crew can coordinate and work through these crazy Corona times.
Yeah, it's about time for us to do another one.
Yeah, it is, and I think Corona topic might be on board.
Yep. And then also, I think next week it's time for another monthly raffle. So look forward to that. Patreons will get like a random bonus item, whatever we feel like giving them or whatever they ask for. Whether it's merch, bead sprites, magnets, we do all kinds of shit, gift cards. So yeah, go look at our Patreon. It's at patreon.com/RPG After Years. One other quick announcement. The material lockdown is still going. So for those who don't know, basically the material lockdown, it's a charity challenge where a Twitter bot that our very own Jay made assigns your characters in the OG Final Fantasy VII specific types of materia, and then you have to play the entire game with those restrictions. I did one last year. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the new way of playing despite the restrictions. I couldn't use green materia with anybody. That was fun.
Do you want to give a correction from Rich's blunder last week? He couldn't remember what the charity was for.
Oh, right. Not the Muscular Dystrophy Association. It's the Motor Neuron Disease Association, the MNDA.
Oh, Rich.
So that's still going. You'll want to get that in and start playing before the remake comes out in just a couple weeks.
Rich really needs to stop drinking before he records a podcast.
I don't know, he's got a weird, beautiful mind. I wonder though, is muscular dystrophy, is that just like the opposite of motor neuron disease? One's mind, one's body?
Well, I think muscular dystrophy is still neurological. I'm just not. I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah.
I'm not too educated in that medical field.
Right.
I go to my doctor once every 7 years at least.
It's been years since I've been to the doctor as well.
I don't go. I don't want to pay.
Yeah.
It's so expensive.
Even with health insurance, it just ends up costing money.
Nope. Yeah. I have a huge like copay that I have to meet. And I'm just like, man. I'm not paying that. I'm just not going to a doctor. If insurance doesn't kick in until I pay this amount, I'm already screwed. So
speaking of body, I meant to ask you, Jay, what do you think about this beard I've got coming in now? Thanks to Corona.
I think you need to stick with it. I think it looks good.
Oh, thanks.
Nope.
I appreciate
it.
Nope.
I think you need to grow the hair out now too.
Yeah. Go full Witcher.
Yep. Go full Witcher.
Corey hates it, but everybody else loves it. So I don't know.
I'll live with you.
I'll shave it off once the quarantine ends. That's the only reason I decided to grow it. It's like, yes, this is my chance. All right. You guys ready to get into some news?
Let's do it.
All right.
Hear ye, gather round for all your news. Stop your clatter and listen close. Alas, you won't believe your ears. Listen close for the news.
Okay, so first up, I thought this was interesting. Yakuza Like a Dragon, at least in Japan, will be getting New Game Plus DLC that will be sold for 7 yen, which is roughly equivalent to 7 cents here, I think.
That's
so
interesting.
I don't really get why they're even charging it. It has to be like some kind of in joke or something. There was some controversy about this because all of the Yakuza games have a New Game Plus just built into the game, and then all of a sudden this one is DLC, and it's people but just said that it was going to be paid DLC. So people were like kind of mad about that, understandably, because it's like this has always been a feature in these games, and now you're going to just randomly charge for this one time.
I wonder if like the head honcho was like, now how much money do I need to get this really cool thing?
Yeah,
It's like, okay, we have about, these many people will buy the game, would most likely buy it. Divide that by how expensive my thing is. Okay, 7 cents. Okay,
Shit.
that's how much I need.
There is a caveat to it, though. Apparently, that price is only good through May 1st. So I don't know how much it'll be after that. But it is kind of like a bullshit business tactic. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess anybody who cares about the New Game Plus is probably going to get it before then, but still. What are you going to do? Who makes the Yakuza games? I don't even know.
No clue.
I don't know either. I've never even played one.
Oh, well.
Same here.
All right.
So also this week, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. We saw a new trailer and a release date. It will be releasing on May 29th. Scott, I know you saw the trailer. Jay, did you see it?
I don't think I have watched a trailer. I don't know if it was the same trailer.
Did you watch it this week?
I watched it yesterday.
Okay, then that's probably
It's probably
I think
the
there's
new
only
one.
been 2 trailers, and the first one was like a very brief teaser.
This was like a 4 or 5 minute one.
Okay, that's the same
Yeah,
one.
yeah. So also with this news, we found out that there's going to be a new additional story called Future Connected. I don't know what that means or how that relates to the game, but they are adding that in.
It's like an epilogue, like after you, almost like a sort of a DLC expansion story kind of deal.
Gotcha. There'll be remastered music tracks, and they are, as always, improving the visuals and the gameplay.
I think
amazing
the
that
trailer
they
said
do.
that the music tracks were re-recorded.
Re-recorded.
Yeah.
It said
Ooh.
only some is what I think it said. Some of the music. I don't get why you would do that. Just
Yeah, why not
do
just do the whole
Yeah.
enchilada?
Well, anyway, I am excited
I'm
about
really
this
hungry right now.
game. Random. I do have Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii, and I only played the first couple hours. I really liked what I played, and I just never picked it back up for some reason. So I'm excited about this one.
It's the
supposed to be really
Xenoblade
good.
curse, man.
Yeah, I know your pain. Before I forget, during the same direct, they also showed another trailer for Bravely Default 2, which I know a lot of people are excited about. Apparently, the Bravely games are supposed to be really, really good, but never played one.
Yeah, and that's actually my article you just stole there, Scott.
Oh, sorry.
Can you read one line ahead?
Come on, Scott. That
There's
was
one
my
line.
news. That was my news to share.
Uh,
So, guys, Bravely Default 2 gets a new trailer and a demo. It also came, at least the article that I was looking at has a buttload of awesome screenshots of the updated characters and styles and general, design of the game. I have played probably about 6 hours of the first Bravely Default and ended up getting sucked into other games and totally forgot about it. And I'm a fan. It's basically just Final Fantasy with a twist, like most games coming out of that Square Enix game, right?
right.
Yeah, it's anything Square Enix makes is just Final Fantasy with a twist.
Yeah.
So yeah, the style is updated a little bit. So the first Bravely Default kind of has this this 3D, almost hand drawn looking I don't know, design with the towns and the cities, and it's still kind of similar to that, but more 3D. So I am looking forward to that, but first I have to play the first one because it actually does look like a continuation of the first one. I'm pretty sure the characters are the same, so I can't just skip it.
Well, they're supposed to be good, so I'm sure you're in for a good time. Yeah, sorry, I thought I had just forgotten to put that in the news, but apparently.
Tisk, tisk, tisk. So RPGs released last week on the 31st, which was Tuesday, a game that I personally am super excited about. Persona 5 Royal has released, and I want so badly to play this game, but we've got two big releases about to come right afterwards, and Persona 5 is a big game.
We have it pre-ordered, but I think it's going to have to wait until after the remake.
Yeah.
Because it's such a long-ass game.
Well, whenever
apparently.
whenever you guys play that one, I'll start a new game on the PS4 version that I have.
Yeah, sounds good.
I'm kind of pissed it's not for the Switch yet. I just don't want to play it again until it came out for the Switch, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
It'll probably happen like after we beat the game, like
Yeah.
the very next week. And so upcoming RPGs on April 3rd, sorry, time traveling here. The Resident Evil 3 make it comes out. I know that's not an RPG, but I'm really excited for it, so I'll put it on there anyway.
So whenever I learned that this was coming out, this coming week? Yeah, this coming week. I was pretty confused. I was like, wait, I feel like this was just announced. It's already coming out.
It was a pretty short period between announce and release. I think it was only like less than maybe a half a year, if that.
Yeah, I was shocked.
I don't even think it was that long.
Like, man, they really expedited this.
Yeah. And then on the 10th, which is next Friday, we'll have the Final Fantasy VII remake. Finally. I had to do that again.
I'm kind of sad they didn't do an early release with the Corona time.
Yeah, that would have been really nice. But a lot of people are concerned about not getting the game on time due to the coronavirus stuff.
Yeah, shipping delays.
I'm pretty sure that Square Enix announced that there would be no cause for delay.
I think the only thing that might be a concern is if the individual retailers are affected as far as like getting things out on time.
I'm getting it digitally, so
yeah. I kind of wish I
aren't you guys getting the cool steelbook case?
Yeah,
thing?
It's the deluxe edition. It's not the full hog version, but it is like the middle tier.
Scott can't say no to a steelbook.
Yeah, that's my weakness. There's like a version of the game coming out that comes with like a statue of Cloud on the motorcycle, and that's like $200+ or maybe even more. I don't remember. So yeah, I think, if we don't get it that day, I may end up double dipping just to play it a few days early. You can always resell, right?
That's right.
Anyway, okay, so that's the news. And with all that out of the way, we're going to take a quick break before we start the review. And we're back. So let's get on to the review. It's time to review Astral Chain. Okay, so Astral Chain came out on August 30th of 2019, which is about 216 days ago. So not that long, still a fairly new game. And then, as always, we kind of go over what was number one on the charts at the time. In the US, it was Bad Guy by Billie Eilish.
Bad Guy.
Yeah. Corey, you like this song, don't you?
I love this song. This is one of my jams.
I've heard a lot of mixed opinions on this.
I love it.
I love and hate it.
I'd love to hate it.
And that's kind of how I feel about Billie Eilish and the.
Yeah. It is like strangely catchy, but also she's not really doing much actual singing.
It's just so different.
Yeah.
Isn't she also really young?
Yeah, I think she's only like 16 or something.
Whenever I'm hearing this, it's kind of really seducing. So I'm like, oh, I'm feeling a little dirty.
Yeah. Well, she, as far as I know, she doesn't like wear like anything super revealing or anything like that. So she's a sort of an offbeat person. Anyway, in the UK, the number one was Senorita by Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello. I hope I said that right.
Camila Cabello.
Strangely enough, I believe that this became the number one single for us like a week later when I was looking. So I actually don't like this song very much, though. I think it's kind of overrated. What do you guys think?
I'm in for it.
You can get down to it. Oh well. Shawn
Reminds me of a
Mendes is
song. Didn't Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez do a song together?
Yeah,
Probably
yeah,
at some point.
it does remind me of it. They were dating, so anyway.
I'm cool with Camilla Cabello.
Yeah, she sounds pretty good. So then in the box office, the number one hit was Angel Has Fallen. That's both in the US and the UK. I don't even know what this movie is.
I've never heard of it. No.
I looked at it. It looked like some kind of like patriotic like action or
Wasn't
war
it
movie or something.
Wasn't it a remake of that show that released a few years back, Olympus Has Fallen, where those terrorists like take over the White House?
It may have been because when I looked at it, it had like the American
Does
flag
this have
on it.
Gerard Butler in it? It sounds like it has Gerard Butler in it.
That's the one. The one I'm talking about had Gerard Butler. Olympus Has Fallen. I'm pretty sure that's the one that had Gerard Butler.
Oh, maybe.
I'm
Anyway,
looking it
well,
up.
I certainly didn't go see it. I was surprised that
You're never gonna guess who's in this movie.
Angel Has Fallen.
Yeah,
Channing Tatum.
Gerard Butler
Oh.
and
it-
Morgan Freeman.
I don't know if it's a sequel or what, but
Weird.
anyway, I was surprised.
Is
it was
Morgan
number
Freeman
one.
the president in this?
Oh, I remember seeing previews
Now I've got to
of
see
this
this.
now. But yeah, so
Does not have great ratings.
I wonder how it got to be number one though. I guess some bad movies do make money sometimes.
It's the
Oh.
third installment in the Fallen film series, following Olympus Has Fallen and London Has Fallen.
Oh, so they were like, it's a trilogy. I didn't know that.
So
Yeah.
Gerard Butler is apparently just the guy that keeps things from falling.
Well, I watched Olympus Has Fallen, and it actually was not that bad.
Now
If
it's
you
full
like,
of-
if you
full
like
of
that kind of
action.
movie, yeah,
I mean, it's very stereotypical, like American hoorah.
exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
All right.
it's a stroke to our ego.
yeah.
Ready to move on to the history? Okay. So Astral Chain is an action adventure hack and slash video game developed by Platinum Games and published by Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch. It is directed by Takahisa Tara, who was previously lead game designer for Nier Automata, under supervision by Devil May Cry and Bayonetta series creator Hideki Kamiya. So Nintendo kind of like helped fund and sponsor this whole thing, which they've been doing a lot with Platinum Games lately.
Good for them.
Yeah.
The development of Astral Chain preceded the release of Nier Automata, with Platinum Games estimating that the game had been in the works for roughly 5 years before its conceptualizing and eventual release. With the assistance of the producer of the canceled Xbox One exclusive Scalebound, the game was pitched to Nintendo after they requested a game with high difficulty from Platinum. Astral
Would say it
Chain
was very high difficulty, but okay.
Yeah. Astral Chain was originally envisioned as a fantasy game where the player would use magic. However, Nintendo recommended they switch to a cyberpunk setting, as they felt it would make the game feel more unique. Apparently, the setting was inspired by anime such as Ghost in the Shell and Appleseed.
Yeah, this game is very anime. Like it literally
Very.
starts with like an anime opening.
Have you guys seen Ghost in the Shell?
No.
I've seen what's the one where the main character is like a woman with purple hair?
Yeah, I think what is that? Ghost in
seen
the
that
Shell
one.
Complex.
Yeah. I've seen a few episodes of that.
Standalone complex.
Yeah.
That's a pretty solid one.
Yeah. I should be clear right here. I think Astral Chain barely makes the cut on whether you could consider it an RPG. I think if I was being realistic, I would say it's not, but we'll make it honorary.
Looks
here.
like an anime. It's totally a JRPG.
Yeah. The gameplay
The
of
opening was
Astral-
badass, though.
Yeah, it was. The gameplay of Astral Chain is designed around controlling two characters at once, which Tara has said comprises the core of the game itself, comparing it to Bayonetta's Wicked Weave ability. World building was also considered important. The developers wanted to show the day-to-day tasks of police beyond fighting crime. Developers noted that the main difference between Astral Chain and Nier Automata's development was that Astral Chain had its scenario built around the gameplay rather than the other way around. Have you ever played any of the Niers, Jay?
Nope, I have not.
I want to. The Automata in particular is supposed to be fantastic from what I hear.
I've heard listened to a pretty in-depth review of Nier Automata, but I've never played
okay.
it.
So as of December 2019, the game has garnered positive reviews and sold over 1 million copies worldwide, making it one of the best-selling games on the system, which is surprising because the Switch has a lot of really well-selling games. All right, shall we go on to the setting and story?
Let's get
I'll
the
take that
hustle
as a
on.
yes. Okay, so basically, this takes place in like a futuristic setting. It's in the year 2078, and it's kind of post-apocalyptic, because there are these like interdimensional alien-like creatures called chimera that come from a place called the Astral Chain, which is like an alternate like universe, and they just kill people and convert people into chimeras with a substance they have called red matter. They're very infectious. So humanity has been like almost wiped out. All of humanity lives on this one like artificial island now called the Ark. But the researchers have come up with a way to domesticate chimera, more like control them than domesticate. And so they have this police force called Neuron that has elite members that can like sort of control the legions. So that's where the double gameplay mechanic comes in, because you control an officer and then you can also control their legion at the same time. And basically the Neuron task force is just tasked with like keeping the chimeras from, you know, destroying humanity, what's left of it. But this artificial island it's like very futuristic. It's got like this very Times Square-ish looking city. It's pretty cool.
It's got the slums.
Yeah, there's like this slum area.
Yeah.
So is this the first time you're hearing about how the game is set up, Jay?
It totally is. I mean, it sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's a very unique idea. I mean, when you look at it, it's obviously very like cyberpunk. Oh, and I should have mentioned that the legions are connected to you by like a psychic chain, and that's where the name of the game comes from. It's called the Astral Chain.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So you play as a Neuron officer. It's a silent protagonist, so he doesn't even have an official name, I don't think. People just call him like the hero or the player.
Do you get to like create them or
Yeah.
design them? Totally
You
an
can-
RPG. You're
yeah.
good.
You can choose from male or female at the beginning, and you can like sort of customize their appearance. Although this gets more into gameplay, I guess, but I'll go ahead and say that I didn't really like the customization that much. There's not a whole lot of options, and like only a cool of the hairstyles I thought were like decent.
It felt like more of an afterthought that they threw it in like late in the process.
Yeah, I know they always wanted to let you choose genders, but I think all the customization came in later. So the main character does have a twin brother or sister. It's the opposite gender of whichever gender you picked. And their name is, whether they're male or female, their name is Akira. Very gender neutral game, I guess. And basically those are the two main characters. Their dad is like a very well respected member of the Neuron. His name is Max. And then the other Neuron officers, or people that have legions, are Alicia, who's sort of like your dad's girlfriend. Jin, who is just like a long time like buddy of your dad's. And I feel like no, that's all of them in it.
Yeah.
Which I thought Alicia and Jen were going to be way more important in the story since they had legions too, but they ended up kind of falling off after the
No, they were just radio contacts.
Yeah, first couple chapters. Neuron is led by a guy named Yosef. He's kind of like an old man who's also like has a background in research. He is very clearly from the beginning going to be a villain. Because like the very first scene there's a scene of him and some researchers like binding a chimera with the astral chain, and it's like very like clear that even though the chimeras are evil, like sort of using them this way is kind of like slavery almost, and he's just very cocky about it.
I don't think I've played very many Japanese games that don't make it obvious who the bad guy is. Like
Yeah,
within the first hour, usually that's the motherfucker right there.
right.
That's him.
There
There
is a
he
boss
is.
swap in the game.
Of course.
But because they so clearly telegraphed that Yosef is bad, I didn't really think the boss swap was that bad this time because I was expecting it. There's Olive, who is sort of like your radio contact at the back at the station. She's like, you need to go here and do this all the time.
She's like the secretary of the police department, or of the Legion department anyway.
Yeah. The staff doctor, her name is Brenda. You can go to her to buy supplies, and she like sort of gives you more info on how the legions are created throughout the game. Not really a main character, but there's another girl named Marie, and she's just sort of like a side, like comical character.
She's the comic relief of the game.
Because she, the Neuron Task Force has a mascot. It's like this giant police dog, and so she has to like get in the mascot suit, and like that's her job. The mascot's name is Lappy, so she has to act like that. It's pretty funny, and it's almost played for laughs because when she's appears as Lappy, she usually just appears out of nowhere, and the character's always like, "Oh God." There's another character named Hal. He's a Neuron officer too, but you never actually meet him face to face. He's just like a droid that flies around with you. And then the main villain, aside from Yosef, is Jenna Anderson, and she used to be a researcher that worked under Yosef. But she's apparently gone rogue and wants to sort of side with the legions and thinks that Yosef's way of doing things is wrong. So yeah, that's basically the setup and the main characters. There's an anime opening that introduces all the characters. It's very epic. It's got like vocals and everything. I think I even read somewhere in the development history is that they specifically requested give it an anime opening.
Nice. Well, they pulled it off.
Yeah. And the player and Akira are recent graduates. They've just come on to the Neuron Task Force. And their dad, Max, is like their commander. He didn't really want them to do it, but that's what they wanted to do. So the game starts. There's a Chimera attack going on just somewhere in the city. And so Neuron is sent out to go after them. It opens up with this like really badass motorcycle chase where you're riding on a motorcycle and like shooting things as you go through a tunnel. It's a very like epic opening. What did you think about the opening, Corey?
I've already mentioned twice. It's a badass opening. It sold the game to me.
Yeah, we were like, all right, so this is going to be badass.
Yeah.
So they're sort of like overwhelmed by the Chimeras. They end up getting saved by the other Neuron members, and basically you just win against the Chimeras and repel them for the day. And that's basically just the opening. So what's after that?
Moving into file 2, this one's called Awake. So after this, we get formally inducted into Neuron. We get sent on our first mission, but it kind of goes awry when we end up getting pulled into the Astral Plane, which is kind of like this other dimension that can create these red chimeras. And that results in our whole squad coming to save us. But unfortunately, the Astral Plane has the side effect that it weakens humans. So all of our entire team's legions go crazy. But in the end, only we are able to recapture our legion and get control of it again. So since we have our legion, to make sure that everybody else can get out, Max decides to stay behind and hold off all of the other prior domesticated legions. And so we have to leave them behind in the Astral Plane. Meanwhile, Neuron's Legion production facility gets attacked, leaving the player as the only officer with access to a Legion. And you also get the Arrow Legion here.
Yeah. So it's like a really things went to shit quick, and I was like surprised.
Very quick.
I thought we were doing like sort of an introductory mission here. And
yeah.
It turns out, oh, well, your dad's going to die and everybody loses their Legion, and now you're the only one that has one.
Pretty much. And that was I thought the little cutscene they put there when when the legions kind of go crazy and kind of group up, and we actually are able to get our legion back. I thought that was a really cool setup.
Yeah. And we probably should say that your character's legion is a sword legion. So basically it uses blades and stuff to attack everything. And I don't remember who had which one specifically, but there's also an arrow legion that sounds just like it is, has a bow that it shoots things with. You can use it to snipe. There's a beast legion that's like a dog. An arm legion that's just like this big, bulky, like torso that just beats the shit out of things.
He's just your strength.
Yeah.
Your brute.
And your dad's is the axe legion, which is just like this giant, like tanky axe wielding thing used to fuck shit up. So the next part of the game, you're basically, since you're the only legion holder now, you're just sent on various missions responding to chimera attacks. And eventually Jenna Anderson gets introduced, and she is somehow able to control the chimeras somewhat. Like she can instigate the attacks and turn the chimeras into beasts called homunculi, which is basically just an even worse version of chimeras.
Yep, like, it's a steroid version.
Yeah, there's like a couple boss fights where just like these huge, massive beasts or homunculi attack, and you got to sort of like fend them off from the city. But at one point, when one of the homunculi attack Akira, who I should mention, there's like this subplot going on where like since she lost her legion, she's like jealous of how her brother is like gets all the attention and still has a legion, and she's kind of a little bit of a bitch about it.
Yeah, she's a real bitch about it.
But she defends you during one of these homunculi attacks, and she ends up getting critically wounded. So they cart her off to the Aegis Research Institute, which is like the lab where legions are created. Jenna also reveals that you were born at a certain time at a certain place, and that's why you have such good rapport with the legions.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember the exact reason why that was? Because I don't either, and it wasn't.
No, I remember Jenna telling us the story behind it, but I don't remember the story. It's been too long. You know how my memory is.
Yeah. So File 4 ends with Akira getting taken to the hospital at the Research Institute.
So then in File 5, you actually go visit the Aegis Research Institute, and then you see Akira in like a comatose state. Then there's another homunculus attack, and Jenna kind of leads us to say, hey, go check out Zone 9. There's probably something there. And Zone 9 is just like a quarantined section of the Ark. It was this one, the slum looking area with the big tall apartment buildings and all that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the Zone 9 is where we were born.
Yeah. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but when you visit Akira at the Research Institute, you're like taken around by Brenda, who's like she pulled the strings to let you be able to visit her.
Yeah.
So then in File 6, the player actually goes to Zone 9 on like an unauthorized mission with Hal to try to like discover. Basically, there's this drug going around called Blue Evolve that can sort of make regular humans capable of fighting chimeras. But the thing with that is it's if you use too much of it, or it can like sort of turn you into a chimera, which is not good. So after it, there's another homunculus attack during all this, I got mixed up there. Basically you meet this group of people called hermits, which I thought these guys were going to be more important to the story because you like sort of ally with them. And there's even a character called Kyle that's introduced who looks really cool. He's got like a cybernetic mask, digital, looks like a DJ or something, like a dubstep.
Yeah, it
DJ.
looks like that DJ that wears the mouse head that has the LEDs in it.
Oh, what's that guy's name? Dead Mouse.
Dead Mouse, yeah.
But after this little part, you never see him again.
I don't think so.
I don't really get what the point was. But anyway, when Jenna shows up again, there's another like attack, of course, and the player gets into like some big trouble and not being able to like he's like being overwhelmed. But Akira shows up fully recovered. She has like this black armor on, and she has a new like red legion.
Yeah, she looks badass now.
So apparently they did like some kind of experiments on her that let her get a new legion while she was at the Institute recovering, which I sort of suspected would happen because the whole place is ran by Yosef, who is just obviously villainous.
Yeah.
But she's really happy to have a legion again after losing it. However, because the player went on this unauthorized mission, Yosef ends up throwing you in jail.
Yep.
And Hal goes into hiding to avoid arrest. And I thought this was like bullshit because like you're one of 2 people who can use legions right now.
And you're going to take one of them away.
Yeah. It's like, what the hell? And it's like, he didn't even do anything wrong, really. Like, is he not allowed to leave the station?
Well, I think they set it up to where like these people have to be protected because they are so critical to keeping the Ark safe. So they're literally not allowed to go anywhere without kind of permission. That way they kind of can keep track of them at all times. So I think they're really, really strict about you have to tell us where you are and where you're going.
I guess that makes sense.
That's the way I took it anyway, that because these 5 are like the most important people in the Ark almost.
Right.
All right. So here we are. We're sitting in jail. We've lost our legion. But then there's another big Chimera attack. And Neuron is forced to kind of let us out of jail temporarily just so we can go help fight one of Jenna's homunculi. Once we get there, Jenna runs off, but she's staging like a big wider attack across the Ark, claiming that she wants to save humanity. So that's what she's telling people is she wants to save humanity, but she ends up getting away from us. And then once we move into the next file, things start out peaceful because Neuron's now just like trying to clean up the city. But then another aberration attack hits. So we're under constant attack. There wasn't really any like plot development or anything here. We get a scene where we find our dad's legatus and have a flashback to our graduation. And just a side note, the legatus is the backpack that they carry that has the astral chain in it, right?
Mm-hmm. It's sort of like a dual disc from Yu-Gi-Oh! Almost.
Yeah.
Wear on your arm. I thought that this little section of the game, like maybe file 6, 7, 8, they were kind of like a lull in the story. Like
it really slowed down.
I mentioned on the podcast that it feels like you go long periods of time without like any real development happening.
Yeah, this area of the game was a kind of a slog.
Yeah, but when it goes high, it goes high. So
yeah, true. I mean, there's high highs and low lows.
Yeah. So in the next file, it begins with Jenna making like a TV broadcast across the whole Ark, just demanding that Yosef surrender and allow her to take control. It's very like Dr. Eggman, and reminded me of Eggman making a broadcast.
Yeah.
She confronts Yosef and saying, they have like different ideas about how to save humanity. Yosef refuses to relent, and so she starts attacking the Ark, and she ends up using Blue Evolve on herself. So she turns into like a very traditional like RPG, like hybrid Chimera boss thing. Sort of reminds me of like when people inject themselves with the T virus in Resident Evil, stuff like that.
That's exactly what it was like.
So you go through like 3 phases of a boss battle with her, and it kind of seems like this might even be the final boss just because of how epic it is. Like she just gets progressively more and more powerful with different crazier forms.
Yeah, it was insane.
So basically you end up merging with your Legion somehow. Was that because you used Blue Evolve, or it just happened?
I think it just happened.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we ever really like used Blue Evolve to my memory.
Yeah. So you defeat Jenna, but basically you merge with your Legion, and like you're an aggressive Legion that goes on attack. Sort of like, even though you've got this thing that's like your partner, sort of, it's still like a rabid beast on the inside.
Yeah.
So the player loses like all control of themselves. They go on the attack. He ends up falling off a bridge, and that's how that file ends. But the whole reason he falls off is because Yosef calls in a new task force called the Ravens, and they all have black armor like Akira.
Yep.
And they're all Legion wielders. There's there's a whole bunch of them, not just the 5 that they used to have.
It's an army of these Ravens.
Yeah, so it's like at this point you're definitely like, oh shit, this is a bad idea, and Yosef is definitely a villain. If you haven't figured that out already.
All right, so we wake up in Zone 9. We're back in our human form. Hal and Olive are the ones that brought us to Zone 9. We're in. They tell us we're in a hiding place. So then Hal has to tell us,
basically you're all fugitives now.
Yeah. Yosef has replaced Neuron with these Ravens, and he's got this entire army looking for us, saying that we are treasonous. We have to go rescue Brenda because she has left Neuron because she knew too much. It's reminds me of those government movies where they have to off somebody because you know too much.
Whistleblower.
Yeah. So we have to go find Brenda. Akira confronts us, trying to tell us to hey, come back. But we get ambushed by the Ravens.
Yosef has made Akira the leader of the Ravens.
So we get ambushed by the rest of the army, and we learn that the Ravens, the entire army, are clones of Akira. So the Ravens attack Akira, causing us to merge with our Legion again, and we just go absolutely blitzkrieg on them again.
This part is cool because you actually get to control the player as merged with the Legion.
Yeah, and it was awesome to watch too. But to stop Akira, the player, we've merged with our Legion again. This time willingly though. We can actually do it kind of on command, and we managed to knock everybody back to their human form.
Yep, and it just sort of ends ambiguously with them all like knocked the fuck out.
Yep, just laying there, and then it's like, oh, file over.
Yep, and then so we get to like the climax of the game, the final file. You wake up back at the hideout in Zone 9, and Akira is like slowly coming to, and she's like pissed because she did the right thing to save her brother, but now she lost her Legion again, and she's no longer the captain of the Ravens and stuff. But she's always a bit like just a bit of a pill.
Yeah, she's got a very jealous streak in her.
Yeah. So they decide to go to Aegis and sort of I just forget, there was one big reveal at the end of the last file that all the Ravens are clones of Akira.
Yeah, I mentioned it.
Oh, sorry, I missed that.
Listen.
Yeah. So you and Akira go to the Aegis Research Institute. You're sort of like fighting your way through the legions there, or the Chimera, and you find like just a shit ton of Akira clones. It's like that room in the Matrix movies where like they have humans as batteries, just like capsules lining the wall. It's just like shit tons of Akira clones.
Yep. It's like something the Umbrella Corporation would do.
Yeah. So then Yosef uses the Ravens to try and create an ultimate Legion. He calls it Noah, and he ends up merging with Noah. So then you go through like a 4-phase boss fight, just like the Genome one, where it's like increasingly the stakes are higher, and he's got like a bigger, crazier form. Very traditional RPG final boss. Just maybe we can call it an RPG just based on that alone.
Yeah.
So in order to stop Yosef / Noah, Akira ends up sort of letting herself be absorbed into Noah. And so eventually Akira is able to weaken him from within enough to like sort of hold him back. But the problem with that is now you can't like truly defeat Noah without also killing Akira.
Sad.
So there's a scene where the game actually asks you, do you want to do it or not? And if you say yes, then you do it. But if you say no, then your Legion sort of like goes rogue and kills her for you.
Yep.
Which is sad.
Your Legion's like, no, buddy, no.
Yeah. But during the ending, basically, the Chimera attacks have like decreased dramatically. They're not happening anywhere near as often. They start allowing humans to leave the Ark and like repopulate the Earth. Neuron is put back together with Olive as the interim commander, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, I love that she got to be commander.
Yeah. And the task force continues to handle like new Chimera attacks. And then the very end, it's revealed that basically Brenda was able to transplant memories from Akira's Legion into one of the Akira clones. Effectively, we still have an Akira. May not be the same one, but
just a
she's
new
alive. Yeah, a brand new sister.
She's an updated version.
Yeah. So that's basically it for the story. What did you think overall about it, Corey?
Kind of like what we mentioned earlier. When it goes high, it goes high. But when it gets low, it is a valley and you have to slog through it. But I think the payoff is worth it. I do remember thinking, though, that towards the ending, we were like, holy shit, because it was like, it felt so sudden.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kind of stopped. But I was like, you know what? The payoff was worth it, though.
Yeah, it did sort of feel like the ending was kind of weak. Like you said, it just sort of stops. After you kill Akira, like the credits roll.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, that's it?
Yeah, we're not done here.
So after hearing all that, I know you missed a little bit of it, Jay, but what did you like generally think?
It sounds like a game I could get into.
Yeah.
I think you should play it, at least try it.
I liked it.
It sounds very Japanese RPG action adventure.
It definitely is, yeah.
Another thing that bothered me about it is there are it feels like there's some plot threads that sort of just don't get resolved, or like characters that don't get their own stories. It made it really seem like Jen and Alicia were going to be more important, and the whole thing with the hermits. And there's probably a few other plot threads I'm forgetting that just didn't go anywhere.
I was hoping that like Kyle would come in more often because, I mean, they looked cool.
Yeah.
Like their little gang.
That's pretty on par with a lot of other JRPGs out there.
Yeah, that's true. I actually liked the boss swap because it sort of like revealed, wait a minute, Jenna was actually doing the right thing the whole time.
Yeah.
She was just trying to stop Yosef, who is a madman, and creating an army of legions.
And in the process turned herself villainous.
Yeah. I got like almost Quistis vibes from her whole character design as far as how she looked.
Was she
anyway.
Was she hitting on people that she probably shouldn't be hitting on?
I wish she had. So yeah, that's the story, and I guess now we will move on to gameplay. Okay, so like I said earlier, the main gimmick of this game is you're controlling both the player character and the Legion at the same time. You can make the Legion like dissipate at will and bring him out whenever you want. But while the Legion's out, he'll like sort of automatically attack on his own, and you just sort of control where he goes. Like the right stick controls the Legion, and of course the left stick controls the player. It's a really cool like general gimmick because you can do like some awesome combos with that. Like you can wrap enemies around in the chain just by controlling your Legion to do that. If an enemy is like launching itself at you, you can like spread the chain taut and sort of like throw the enemy backwards with it.
And a rubber band them.
Yeah, it's really cool. And actually, I really liked the combat. It's very fluid and awesome. You can do all kinds of combos, or you can just, mash X if you want, depending on the difficulty. So I know that you didn't actually play, but what was your general like thoughts on how the combat worked?
I mean, it looked cool. Each Legion having their own kind of, I guess, feel. Being able to snipe with the arrow and then being able to switch to your sword guy because he's really quick and has more agility, and you can wrap, switching to your beast because he's just a beast. I mean, it looked really cool. It looked fun.
Yeah, the Legions have special abilities like the sword one can like cut lasers to sort of like open doors. You can ride the beast around, which is awesome.
Yeah, that was cool.
I didn't find it very useful in practice because I felt like I had spent half my time like circling and trying to ride it where I wanted to. But
What was the learning curve for it?
Well, there's some things that I didn't figure out until towards the very
Towards
end
the
of
end?
the game. Yeah,
I
like
remember that.
think I mentioned in another episode that I think it was like chapter 9 or something before we figured out that you could assign legions like unique abilities and then
Yeah.
use them in battle.
Yep.
Which turned out to be they were really useful. So I was like, man, I wish I'd figured that out earlier. So outside of combat, there's also very early on you get this device called an iris. It's like a little Dragon Ball Z visor that goes over your eye. But it
check
lets you
power levels.
Yeah, basically you can like focus it on people and learn like their age and their weight and like different stuff in the police database about them.
It's like
So like something straight out of Black Mirror.
Yeah,
kinda sounds
exactly.
Like.
it's like a CAT scan because you can see their blood type and everything about them. You can
like
see through walls, like the layout of a building.
It's too powerful.
So there is like another whole side of the gameplay outside of the combat. Usually missions start off as like investigations. So you have to like go around and gather clues and like sort of figure out what's going on and what happened. You have to talk to various people to figure out like different details about the case. So the investigations always turn into just like an all-out chimera attack in the end, but
Every time.
it is fun to sort of like solve the puzzle and piece things together.
And they didn't make it that like super easy either, because you would have like an inventory of different things that could be clues, and you had to go, talk to some other police officer, and you had to get the right clues out of this entire list, or else he'd be like, that has nothing to do with it. Go
Right.
try again.
So that was fun. However, there are lots of side quests usually before the chimera attacks really begin. And although it's cool that they're there, they end up being, for the most part, just fetch quests. There's some ones that are a little cooler than that. Like there's one where you have to be lappy for a little while and like deliver balloons to people.
But there's just so many of them.
Yeah, there's like a couple that end as like chase scenes. I thought those were cool. But other than that, the side quests were kind of a downer for me. If I could go back, I would probably skip most of them just because of how much they break up the pace, because you could spend a whole night doing the side quests at the beginning of a file.
Which we did a couple times.
Yeah, there's like, and that was part of why we were saying that we sort of felt like the pacing was off sometimes. Like the slowest story files also had the most side quests, it felt like. So there's some other elements, like each legion has a skill tree. You get like components that you can use to sort of like teach legions new skills and upgrade their stats. And so that's an RPG element. And then in most chapters, after the whole investigation part and a little bit of fighting, you end up in the Astral Plane, which is like this really cool looking like area. It's made out of like red cubes. It's almost like being inside of like a cybernetic area.
Yeah.
It sort of looks like Orphan's Cradle from 13. Final Fantasy 13, that is. But you go there a lot and it starts to feel by the end of the game like not as special, because they talk about like how dangerous the Astral Plane is, and you go there like a bunch of different times in the game. It starts to feel like business as usual. But you do have to do like some light platforming in these areas. Like your legion can fly, you can make it fly out to a different platform and then yank you to where it is with the chain, which I thought was cool at first, and then it ended up being, I found it hard to control a little bit. I would often like just pull myself right off the ledge.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of what some other elements are. One of the side quests is your dad had an apartment where he keeps stray cats that he picks up, and so you can, like, by doing side quests, collect more cats, and then when you visit the apartment, when you feed them, the more cats you have, the better the rewards they give you. That was just like a funny side element. Like, somebody really likes cats, whoever made this game. There are varying difficulties. We played on, I think, the easiest one, which the way the difficulties are described, it's like there's casual and then there's hardcore, and then there's like another difficulty you can unlock. I didn't want to play a hardcore because I'm not necessarily super good at action games. But on the other hand, casual felt really easy. It sort of felt like they should have described it as easy and normal, maybe. What else am I forgetting, Corey?
File 12.
Oh yeah. So file 12, it's like after the game is concluded. It's like a epilogue almost. But there's really nothing to do in there except for you can take on like, apparently there's like 76 or some crazy number of missions you can do. And they're just like combat missions. And you get graded on all of them, and you can only unlock the last one if you get like a perfect rating on all the other missions.
Jeez.
You unlock a secret boss when you do that, and apparently he's really cool, which I need to YouTube that. Because I'm never gonna do the missions. I ain't got time for that.
No, that was 75 plus.
Yeah. You can craft like better upgrades to your weapon. You can make grenades, which I never actually used one of those.
I don't think so.
Another untouched gameplay.
Yeah. You can play it co-op.
You can pretty much customize your character at any time. Although, like I said, this is another one of my complaints. There are shit tons of customization options, but most of them are unlocked by doing the secret missions in File 12, which is the end of the game. So I don't care at that point.
So you finish the entire game, and then you can customize your character the way you want.
And I believe there is a new game plus. So if you ever wanted to do that, you could.
Oh, God.
Yeah. There's a photo mode, which we only used when needed. If you take photos of legions, apparently, or Chimera, you apparently like unlock the ability to see their health bar, which there must have been something I was missing with that, because we never saw health bars, and I
don't think
took
so.
pictures of everything. Maybe I just misread that. The only other thing I can think of is you start out each file at the police station or at the fugitive hideout if you're at that part of the story.
Yeah.
And you sort of like go around and take on side quest missions from the different officers. So you sort of like explore around at the beginning of every file before you get sent out in your helicopter. Yeah. So I know you didn't play it, but what did you think by watching me from everything?
I mean, it was entertaining. It looked fun. So I would assume that you had fun playing it. Minus the kind of the slog section that we went through of just side mission after side mission. But the game makes up for it with really high highs.
Right. Yeah. Overall, I like the gameplay too. Like I said, there's a shit ton of elements, and at the beginning, it almost felt sort of overwhelming.
There was a lot that went into it. It seemed.
Yeah, you go through towards the beginning like a training mission, or a training room, almost like a X-Men danger room type thing, and that took forever because it was like, all right, here's the 24 gameplay elements you need to learn about how to fight.
Yep, and do a tutorial for each one.
Yeah. So after hearing all that, does it still sound like something you'd be interested in playing, Jay?
Yeah, if I could get it for not a lot of money, I would totally play it.
You might be waiting a while, the Nintendo tax. So yeah, I think that's basically it for the gameplay. So I guess we are ready to move on to our scores.
Let's grade the sucker.
Okay, so the way we decided to do this is, since Corey, you didn't actually play it, we're not going to count your scores towards the final rating, but we still want to get your scores, basically, just to get your thoughts on it. But we will count mine. So we'll start off with story. My final thoughts on the story, there are some really awesome parts of it, like some awesome cutscenes and some awesome bosses. But like I said, there's also a lot of what felt like either underutilized or subplots that just didn't go anywhere, or like things I was interested to find out more about and it just never did. I did as many as many side quests as I could find. I didn't skip any, as far as I know. I know we did miss some, but and the characters aren't really. I mean, there's a few of them I like, but none of the characters had some super great arcs. I guess Akira had the most story and role in the plot, and I didn't really. I mean, I didn't dislike her, I guess, but I didn't care for her very much either. So I guess I'll give the story a 7 because there's nothing like super great about it, but it's not bad necessarily either. I was sort of thinking I might have given it a 6, but I did enjoy it overall. So what would you have said about the story, Corey?
I'm gonna give it a 7, just because I mean it's good enough for what it is, but it's very formulaic.
Yeah,
it follows the same formula that games have for years and years and years. And yeah, and here they had, I thought they had this chance with this very cool looking world, anime style, different kind of, never seen a game where a legion gets attached to you and you can use 2 players. I just feel like they left a lot on the table.
That is something that I should have said. There is a co-op mode in the game where one person controls the player and the other controls the legion. We never tried it because that seemed like it would have been really annoying to me because you're constantly dismissing the legion and bringing it back, and
yeah,
it would take some finesse and cooperation, that's for sure. All right, so since the combat is sort of separate from other gameplay elements in this one, I did decide to go ahead and have a combat category and a non-combat. So for combat, I'll say I'm going to give it a 9. I was almost going to give it a 10, but there are some parts of it that feel useless or things I didn't enjoy necessarily. And at the end of the day, it is kind of a hack and slash, like press X to win if that's what you want to do. You have to do like some kind of technical things with your legion, like wrapping and stuff every now and then. But the combat is super, super fun. So that's probably the highlight of the game for me.
I'd have to agree with you on that. And I'll give it the same score because I think it's really cool that you can use the player, you can use the legion, and you can use the chain that's connected you. You can teach your legion special moves, special abilities. I thought it was fantastic. And the way they laid it out is a little complicated. There, like we mentioned earlier, there's layers to this combat system. So it is complicated. It looks like there's a little bit of a learning curve, but it looked like the payoff was worth it.
It's like an onion with layers.
Yeah.
All right. So the non-combat, I wouldn't rate this one as highly, but I did really appreciate the fact that it's not just a hack and slash. There are sections of the game where you have to sort of collect clues and explore the city, sort of navigate around the place with using your legions. You can use your legions to like spy on people that are having private conversations, because I should have mentioned this at some point, but only the legion wielders can see their legions. Chimera in general are invisible to most people. Part of what makes them so dangerous.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I disliked the side quests for the most part, and even the police station, it just sort of felt like it took forever to really get rolling on the cool parts of the game. So I'll give it a 6.
Dude, you got to quit stealing my scores. Because I was stuck between 6 and 7 because I thought the investigations were pretty cool. That's kind of how you got your missions. So I liked the fact that it kind of made you work a little bit before you went on this big epic mission. Mm-hmm. I liked the fact that you could kind of just get sucked into the astral plane, or you could voluntarily go there at certain points in the game. So I'm going to give it the 7 just because I think the investigations were cool enough for me. But the side missions I felt kind of boring for the most part. But there were some that I thought were really cool, like having to use your iris to find people in buildings. I thought was pretty cool. So yeah, I'll bump it up to a 7.
Iris start.
Iris start. You heard that so many times during this game. Iris start. Iris shutdown.
Yeah, it's like you have to do it back and forth, like over and over sometimes. It did get great eventually.
Broken record.
Reminds me of Crisis Core. Combat resolved.
Combat resolved.
All right, so moving on to the graphics. This one's tough for me because I didn't think that technically the graphics were that great, but it's kind of like Fire Emblem, and it ends up looking great because of the art style. Like
Right.
everything is very anime and cartoony. There's some really cool looking landscapes, like that Times Square-ish area. That was really awesome.
Yeah.
There are a few points where you can like sort of look out over the horizon, just see like a cool backdrop. In general, the art design of this game is off the charts.
Yeah.
It's just, like I said, I don't think the graphics are technically that great. So I'm going to give it an 8. It looks amazing.
It does. I mean, my main complaint would be like there's some texturing issues.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you said, it's hard because it's kind of supposed to look that way. It kind of builds the environment for that. But overall, I thought the game looked fantastic. I thought the legions looked really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give it a 9 just because I thought it was a very pretty game.
Okay, I was thinking about giving it a 9 too, but all right. And then there's the music. So I feel kind of split on this too because there's some like really awesome. There's some really awesome music in this game. The Neuron Police Force in particular, you spend a lot of time there, and it has like a really cool banger of a track with like the female vocals and very like techno-ish almost. When you fighting the legions, it turns into more like rock a lot, or chimeras, I should say, almost metalish at times. And then when you're just exploring, it's very like chill, like sci-fi futuristic sounding music. However, like I said, there are some really cool tracks. There are a lot of them that are forgettable or not so great, in my opinion. And then as far as the sound goes, I don't really have any complaints, I guess. The sound feels like really visceral. Nothing sounded bad necessarily. The huge boss fights, like the homunculi and like Jenna and Yosef, they have like really awesome orchestral choir sounding tracks. So that was pretty cool. So it's like right down the middle of the road for me. I guess I'll give it a 7 because it's not bad.
No. I'm going to give it a 6, and my reasoning is there are some bangers in the game. Problem is they're not memorable.
Yeah.
Like if I wanted to hum a song from Astral Chain right now, I couldn't do it because I would have to go back and listen to it again. So they're cool in the moment, but they don't stick with you.
Yeah, I mean, I just listened to the entire soundtrack a couple days ago in preparation for editing the review and inserting the music between the segment transitions. And even after doing that, the only one I can recall, offhand is the police force theme or police.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's about accurate. Which brings us on to our final category, overall feel of the game. So when I think about Astral Chain, I generally feel positive about it. I liked it quite a bit. However, I didn't necessarily love it. There's enough detractors in there to where like I think it'll be a long time, if ever, before I replay it again. But I did enjoy it. I liked having something a little bit more, not to use the word again, visceral on the Switch, with a serious plot. And like maybe I'm having an anime overdose here because we're just got through Fire Emblem. But so I'll stick with a 7 on that one.
You better get used to anime because I'm going to be playing Persona 5 soon enough.
Jesus, yeah.
Overall, it's a game that I wouldn't mind going and after watching it, playing it myself. But there is that nagging part of me that's like, don't forget, there's going to be a large section where not a lot's going to be happening and it's going to be a little more on the boring side. But I've said it a couple times, the payoff is worth it. Because, when you start, especially when you start getting towards the end, it really picks up and kind of sucks you back in. So for overall, I'll agree with the 7.
Okay. So can you add up your scores in your head there?
7, 14, 21, 39, 45.
45. So our ratings were really close together. I gave it a 44 out of 60. You gave it a 45 out of 60. So I think that's probably about accurate.
That sounds about right, yeah.
So because we're only counting my score, the final score is 44. Not that it would have changed that much if we had counted yours. See if I can do the math here to find out what it would have been. So added up, that would be 89 out of 120, which averages out to a 7.4, which I could go with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good game, not fantastic.
It's not one you'll love, but it's entertaining.
And it might be more for some people. There are some people that absolutely love those games with like the really intricate combat systems, or
True.
Like it's very similar to, I guess, like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta or Nier. So yeah. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our review. There is no tea time with Bill this week because he didn't even know what Astral Chain was. So I asked for feedback, and he said, I have a question. What is it? So,
oh, Bill.
Yeah. All right, so that was the review. Awesome.
Yay.
I hope you guys enjoyed that. What's up next week, Jay?
So next week we have a hopefully entertaining episode planned. We are going to be planning and making our own RPG. So what I mean by that is we are going to it's somewhat of a spin-off of the episode where we talked about what is our ideal RPG, or what makes an RPG good, I think is the actual episode. But this time around, we are going to audibly create our own RPG, meaning setting, the style, gameplay, plot, and characters. We're going to, name our characters and give them some background stories and what kind of plot we're looking for in this theoretical RPG. So with that being said, all of our listeners, we ask that you do the same, create your own RPG, create your own setting, style, gameplay, plot, characters, whatever backstory you want to give them, and then send it to us. You can either hit us up on our Discord, or you can email us. And our email is rpgafteryears@gmail.com.
Or you could hit us up on Twitter, which we'll give you our handles in a minute.
I'm looking forward to that episode.
I have a question, actually. Are the three of us each going to have like our own ideal RPGs, or are we going to like create some kind of Frankenstein, like if we all had input into one perfect RPG?
What was that? I'm sorry. I got totally distracted by a Slack message.
That's okay. I said, are we going to have like each one of our own like perfect RPGs, or are we like doing a Frankenstein type deal where
I want to
all of our
Frankenstein
input?
it.
Okay. This is going to be good then. Another quick remander, the Materia Lockdown, it's going on. Play it while you still can. It'll be going on for a couple more months, but who's going to want to play that while the remake's out? Although I'm sure some of our listeners will be decent.
Decent.
So yeah, if you guys could rate and review us on iTunes or whatever podcatcher app you're using, that would be very much appreciated. The way these things work, basically the more reviews you get, the higher your podcast appears on the charts. It's like the number one way to get your podcast out there is to get reviews. So we would really greatly appreciate it if you would do that for us. We would prefer good reviews, but we'll take what we can get, I guess. And then what's another way for them to contact us, Jay?
So you can hit us up on our Discord. I'm so bad about details of our Discord. How do people actually go about joining our Discord? Is it in the link in the description of the episode?
Yep, it's in the show notes, and if you can also find it on our pinned tweet on our Twitter. So another quick reminder, we do have a Patreon. We hope you guys take a look at it. Like I said, lots of great benefits, early episode access, ad-free episodes. They're definitely going to be early now that we're in quarantine. I can edit whenever. You can participate in the live video versions that's going on YouTube right now. We got the bonus aftercast. I think we're going to try to record a new one of those in the next week or two. There's extra non-RPG reviews. Corey, we need to get on that immediately.
God.
And more. So take a look at that. Again, patreon.com/RPG After Years. Jay, you already gave him our email, so we'll go on to Twitter. The main show's Twitter account is at RPG Years. You can find me at the Scott Spot.
You can find Rich at HaleBlue1589. You can also find me at JAY Hizzle, HIZZLE.
You can find me at VFL Corey.
And you can find Bill, if you want, at Matunica. And a quick correction, I think it's HaleBlue1569 for Rich. And that's like a typo I made weeks ago that has been carried over every week.
And Rich himself has not corrected this?
I think he did once, and I just like totally glossed over it.
I wonder if he's been reading the wrong one, though.
Oh my God.
That'd be funny.
I have no idea. Okay, so thanks for listening, everyone. We hope you enjoyed the review of Astral Chain. You should give it a try if it sounded interesting to you at all. And we look forward to seeing you again next week for episode 10, doing the Frankenstein Perfect RPG. Until then, I'm Scott.
I'm Jay.
And I'm Corey.
We'll see you next time for more of the RPG After Years. Later.
Toodaloo, buckaroo.
The beast has been slain. The world has been saved. Our heroes are basking in the after years. They rest in the tavern for all to hear the tale of how they banish their fear. Revel in the peace that reigns through the land. All will know it was by our heroes' hands. Here in the after years. Here in the RPG after years. Here in the RPG after years.
Not bad.
Good job,
Thanks.
boys.